Hello, girlfriends. Welcome to the Girlfriends Club and to Girlfriend2Girlfriend. I'm Jabbour, the founder and creator, and I welcome all of you this evening to share in a conversation with a very impressive young entrepreneur. My friend, Sara Kaseta, is a 22-year-old designer. She's the creator and founder of the Inspired by Club, which she founded just in November 2020. The Inspired by Club is an up-and-coming clothing brand that is centered around mental health awareness and making tangible and positive changes. Sara has struggled with her mental health from the age of 13, and her main goal of the Inspired by Club is to help others struggling and join the fight to finally end mental health stigma. So, hello, Sara. Welcome to Girlfriend2Girlfriend. So
Hi.
excited to see you tonight. And I thank you so much for your leap of faith and trusting and coming on and, talking to us not only about your journey and your brand, but about your vision, and what you see, for yourself and for your clothing brand in the future. It's
Yeah,
very, very, forward thinking, and hats off to you.
thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, you're just adorable. So we're just going to get right to it. So, as we were talking a little bit before in the green room, and I think we all recognize the fact that, we've all at one stage or another either have personally struggled with mental health, have a loved one or a friend, or have come in contact with a young adult or, someone in their youth who suffered. And it's so hard.
Yeah, it is.
How did you recognize that in yourself? I mean, 13's pretty young.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I was 13, like that's when I first started getting into Instagram and like social media and all that stuff. And I like the second I was on that, I like just noticed like my self-esteem, my mood, like all that, like just shooting down. And it just like was really affecting me like negatively in school and like in dance that I loved. And like at that point I didn't know anything about fashion or anything like that, but I just like knew I was having problems with my friends because this person was getting that many likes or they didn't like my picture, and it was just like it just like ruined like I guess all self-esteem I had like for myself at 13, which like when you're 13 you really don't have much self-awareness, but I knew that like all that stuff made me so unhappy. um and I think a lot of it was social media based. Like Instagram came out during that time, like when I was 13. I don't even know how long that was ago. But it
It's
was
like
like
last year for you.
yeah, but it was just like it I don't know, like it just affected me so negatively, and I know it affected like a lot of my friends and stuff like that. So that was like the first time like I've actually like noticed it. And then obviously as you get older, other things happen in your life and things happen, like health issues can happen, other friend things can happen, and just like all those things, I guess after that just like really hit me. And I think that's just what kind of made me feel really like down and depressed and kind of get this anxiety that I still have to manage today. But obviously I've like kind of learned about it and Googled and like all stuff like that and talked to my family. And I think it just really like started with like that social media that every kid is on nowadays.
Yeah, it's such a scary space. It's a scary space for adults too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it affects all age groups, but let's go back. You're 13 years old. You're so impressionable. And, I'm sure, you're looking at everyone around you thinking that they're living a perfect world because you're not going to put up an ugly picture.
No,
Let's
not.
let's let's face it, at the end of the day, you're going to filter yourself out and you're seeing, someone's eating here, someone's traveling there. There's the FOMO, there's this whole, right? I mean, this whole stigma, around having a perfect world. I find it so curious that you were able to recognize that.
Yeah. I mean, when I was 13, like I wasn't considered like one of those like popular kids or like anything of that sort. And I think that's like what really got to me. Like some of my friends were like friends with them, and then I wouldn't be invited places. And then you would see things on the internet, and then it would just kind of like spiral from there. And like you said, like FOMO. And like
Mhm.
I just think it like a 13-year-old, like all you want to do is hang out with your friends. And like if you weren't invited to that one thing, like that would literally make me hysterically cry for probably a week. Like, and I knew that wasn't normal. And I knew that like you shouldn't, no one should be going through that. Like you feel bad about yourself. So like I think that was when I like first
Did
kind of
you disconnect from social media at that time, or how did you manage that?
I tried. Like, I would, like, sit in my room and I would shut off my phone that I had at that point. Like, it was, like, one of those, like it was my first phone probably, like, an iPhone or, like, something like that, and I would just, like, try to shut it off or, like, just I guess that and try to ignore it, but, like, most of the time, it was just kinda just me, like, looking at what everyone was doing and kind of torturing myself, which, like, I know sometimes today, like, that still happens to people, like, you don't wanna, like, not see it, but, like, sometimes you just have to, like, take it away from yourself, but it was really hard, like, I was 13, like, I didn't know what was going on, I, like, didn't know it was a mental health problem because no one talked about that at 13, like
Well, it's something you're kind of, it's not something you're comfortable talking about, or can you recognize?
no.
You just think that you're missing out on something, or it's, why aren't you, we're so interesting because we perceive things,
Yeah,
and perception is not reality, right?
like,
So, it's very hard, even as an adult to peel back the onion and understand, but being 13, 14, 15, it's really hard. And
yeah,
who do you talk to?
exactly, like, I was terrified to, like, talk to my mom or like talk to my friends about it because they were the ones getting invited places and then they'd be like you're overreacting, so it was just like it just like kind of spiraled like out of control, and like no one talked about mental health, no one talked about like therapy, you didn't know what it was at like 13, like yeah you had health classes and stuff like that, and they would talk about like mood and like going to therapy and stuff like that, but I feel
Sure.
like back then it like wasn't as talked about as it is now, and it still isn't even talked about a lot,
Well,
so
I
like
agree with you. It's
yeah,
still, still hush hush, but I think at the time when you were 13, um, we didn't realize what the effects were going to be. We
no.
didn't realize as parents, that our children were sitting in bed, what, on the Instagram all day, and and now look at what we have. I mean, there's beyond Instagram, between TikTok. I mean, there's so many other areas, Twitter,
Yep.
where you could spend all day. You
Going
know,
yeah.
you can go on it and you can hate yourself
Yep.
because you're like, how am I missing out on all of this? When the reality is, you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah, exactly. Because what I think I've now learned, like, even through, like, my life, like, what people post on the internet, it's just a highlight reel. No one's gonna post anything bad, like,
Right.
no one's gonna do any of that, like, to people, like, their lives look perfect, and to some other people, like, my life could look perfect. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I still struggle with anxiety and stuff like that, like a lot of people do. And I feel like a lot of people don't use their platforms, whether they're big or not, or small, if they have 100 followers, if they have millions of followers. I feel like a lot of people don't use their platforms to, like, talk about what goes on behind the scenes. Um, Even though, like, now today I see a lot more people talking about it, it's still not enough. But I think when I was 13, like, just seeing all those people, like, doing things that I wanted to do, it just, like, really made my self-esteem, like, really terrible, and I just really thought really bad about myself to the point, like, I have no friends, like, why am I here? Like, this makes no sense to me, like, I'm sitting here and, like, I don't like who I am or how I look and all that stuff, and it, like, all started from this highlight reel of, like, what people post. So, I think that's when I, like, really noticed that, like, it wasn't okay what I was feeling, and there was a scare one time in my life that, like, um, obviously, like, my mom had to, like, help me, but, I think that's what kind of, like, turned over the page where I was like, "Okay, like, I can never go back to that again." Um, and luckily, like, I haven't gone anywhere near that page, but I was, like, 14, and, like,
And you
it's
were
so sad.
sad. You
Yeah,
were sad, you
yeah.
know?
You're 14 and you're sad and you don't know who to talk to and you just think that you don't matter. And it's just like it's hard because, like, you're 14, you're in an awkward age, like, and you don't know who to talk to. And it was just like it's so sad, and, like, I feel like that's what kind of really spiraled what I wanna do going forward in my life. So, yeah.
It's just remarkable that you recognized it. And I know you leaned on your mom and she was there for you. I mean, and that's the other thing, trusting, either your parents or an adult in your life that can help or just listen. And I know we were talking about, your inspiration behind this. And you said if you could just help one person, if
Mhm.
one person hears you, and what did I say? Oh, it's just not one, it's many more than that. But just like I had shared with you, I started the Girlfriends Club because I wanted to pay forward all the goodness and kindness that I received after going through so much strife in my life. And if I could help one woman or be a girlfriend to one woman who doesn't have a friend, like that's so winning
Yeah,
over any job I've ever had.
exactly.
Because you're helping a soul. You're helping someone, and to quote you, feel like they matter.
Yep.
And that to me is just so important because as we're going through Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
No, no. But what matters is here.
Yeah.
What's in your heart? What's in your soul? And how do you want to positively affect life? A
Mhm.
lot of people are out there to negatively affect life
Yeah.
or
It's
just to stay
cra
in that hole, right?
it's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. So as you've begun your journey, so 22 is November, take me to November 2020. So here you go. You're giving birth to this brand, but obviously there was a lot of behind the scenes.
Yeah. Um, it took me a while to actually, like, post on that Instagram. I created that Instagram in actually June of 2020 because
Wow.
right after
Okay.
I graduated, I was like, "I have no job. I wanna help people, like, I need to do something." But me and my anxiety, I was like, "I can't do it." Like, I never, like, saw myself, like, running a business or, like, being confident enough to, like, do any of that. And then, like, going through summer and then, like, struggling with things, like, on my own, I was like, "You know what? Like, people could, like, really like these things." And I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell my parents, I didn't tell my sister, my brother, like, I told no one. And I, like, sent it to one person, and they were like, "Wait, like, that's really cool." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." So I, like, posted on the Instagram, and I followed my friends, and I told them about it, and they all thought it was, like, a great idea, and I knew that I didn't know what I wanted to do with this account. I didn't know if I wanted to make sweatshirts, if I just wanted it to be, like, inspirational quotes that people can just, like, repost to, like, help other people. But I knew that I wanted to help someone in, like, the mental health, like, community. So, like, that's what it was based off of, and I think that when I started it, I was like, "You know what? Like, the best way for me to, like, mesh like my design creativity and like my passion for helping people was to create clothing that like makes this tangible change." So I was like, okay, like I'll make sweatshirts to start. Like I'm literally me and I can't like make like full collections right now. I'm like doing this all by myself. So I was like, okay, I'll like try a sweatshirt. So then I made them and then obviously like all like my first orders were like my best friends and like their families and my
I
family.
think we have three.
Yeah.
We share
Thank
them
you.
here. We love them.
Aw, and it
We
was just, like,
do.
people supporting me, and then I feel like after people were wearing them, other people were like, "Oh, when are you coming out with them again?" And, like, people I didn't know, and so I was like, okay, like I'll keep making them, like whatever. So I came out with more in a few months ago, and now people that I don't even know are buying them. And it's just kind of like
We got to
made,
get you hooked up with one of the stores, let me tell
yeah,
you.
I
So
know.
let's talk about the name. How
Yeah.
did you come up with the name?
I just feel like I'm so creative and I'm inspired by like literally everything around me, especially the people around me. So I wanted to create a brand name that like is very much me and is like can be a community for other people. So the Inspired by Club came about and I wanted it to be like a community of people that can like just reach out if they need anything and just be there and like share their stories freely and stuff like that. So and I wanted people to inspire other people. And I wanted my stuff to inspire people to talk or make them feel better or inspire them to get up that day. Like just something. And I knew that people who inspired me got me to where I am today. So I wanted to kind of pay that forward. So that's how we kind of got the name.
I love it. So did you have a hard time getting out of bed? Did you have a hard time, facing the sunshine?
Yeah.
Did you feel that sad? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, some days, like I said, I still struggle with like anxiety and all that stuff every day. So some days I'm like, I'm not motivated. And I still have this brand that's helping people. Like, I'm
Yes.
not all rainbows and sunshines behind it. It's like, some days I can't get up to make the sweatshirt, or like some days it's just like something happens and I'm just like, not today. But then there's other days where I'm up and ready to go and ready to help those people that I can. And I think that's what people should know is that like everyone's life isn't like, okay, I'm up perfect, yay, every
Right.
day. Like sometimes there is a struggle and sometimes I have to literally force myself out of bed to like
And that's
go
the
through it.
reality of it. And
Yeah.
and one of my favorite quotes is by you is that it's okay not to be okay.
Mhm. Yep.
It is. But that's the truth. That is so mature.
Yep.
For any age, it's okay not to be okay. We
Yeah.
have days that we're not okay.
Yeah, and you
But the
shouldn't.
fear is you don't want it to be a pattern.
Exactly. But even if it is, like, there are resources that can help you get out of it. And that's also what my brand is, like, about. Like, because sometimes, like, I've been there, like, it's spiraled and it's just been a constant everyday thing. And but then one day, like, I would look at, like, an article or, like, a social media post or, like, a quote, and something would get me out of bed, and something would make me change my mindset, and most of the time, it wasn't the people around me because I'm stubborn, and sometimes I don't listen, but it would be
Really?
like yeah.
No.
But, like, it could be, like, the littlest thing, like, if I, like, see a pretty flower outside or, like, I feel like I wanna, like, go look at a river or, like, I don't even know, like, it could have been something random, but I feel like the quote, like, "It's okay not to be okay," like, it truly is because there people do have bad days, and I feel like you shouldn't put your down self down for having those either, like, that doesn't change who you are as a person,
Right.
like, you know who you are, and mostly everyone in this world, like, they will have a bad day, and that doesn't change what people think about them, and if the people around you don't support you during your bad days, then they probably shouldn't be in your life. Like, I'm so lucky to have friends that, like, if I'm like, "Okay, guys, like, I don't feel up to going out today," like, they understand. They're not, like, mad at me, they're not like, "Oh, like, we don't wanna hang out with you anymore," but that's what I dealt with when I was 13. So
Right.
I'm happy that now in my life, like, people don't do that, but I think, like, to the 13-year-olds out there, like, if someone doesn't invite you, like, and someone puts you down for needing to take a break or something like that, or if you're not okay one day, then they probably shouldn't be in your life.
I think let's talk about that for a second.
Mhm.
You know, that's that's really hard for a teenager to respond to
Yeah.
because you don't want to let go of anyone.
No.
You don't want to shut a friend's door or a perceived friend, but your true friends wouldn't put you down for that.
No.
And I think, we realize that as we get older, right? Because
Yeah.
your friends are going to see you through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you tell your 13-year-old self now?
I would just tell my 13-year-old self to kind of try her best to ignore what they're doing and do something that you like to do. Find new people to hang out with. Like, remember that friend you had in preschool that like may have been a little different from you, but you guys still hang out sometimes. Like, that's your friend. Like, she cares about you, like, not the person that goes to all the parties or like gets invited everywhere and then doesn't invite you. Like, I would just say, like, kind of take a step back and just look who cares about you, because the people who don't invite you places and the people who don't like make an effort to reach out to you, they're not the ones that you should have in your life because they're making you feel bad about yourself. It's the people who are there for you when you're sad and will come over when you miss school to make sure you're okay. Those are the people that matter. So that's what I would say to my 13-year-old self, even though I know 13-year-olds probably won't listen at that
They
point.
don't hear that.
They don't hear it. And they're like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like, I just want to be invited to the party. Like, what? But me looking back, like, I am so happy that, like, I wish all the best to the people that I'm not close friends with anymore. But I'm so happy that at those points in my life when I kind of got the courage to like walk away and go to people who care about me, I'm so happy I did that. And to some points in my life, I was also the quiet girl, so I would never stand up for myself. I don't even think I had this best friend and I didn't stand up to her until senior year of high school because I was so afraid of losing her as a friend because of like what I perceived like the outcomes of being her friend was. Like, I was like, oh, like I get to be like invited places and like whatever.
Right.
I was so afraid to lose that. But I think that when other people around me saw how I was being treated and how I was being put down by this girl, like I had to stand up for myself. And my friends never saw me stand up for myself like that. And honestly,
Watch out.
I thank myself for
Yeah.
that every day because if I didn't say like what I needed to say to her, I would have had to dealt with it all through my college career too. And it like wouldn't have been fair to me.
It's
So
almost like being in a battered relationship.
yeah, like
You
literally
know, yeah,
it's bad.
yeah.
But
You're
as
able to
you get
stand up
older, you
for yourself.
realize, yeah, as you get older, you get stronger. You realize who your true friends are, and having 5 really good friends is better than having 100 ones who don't care about you. So,
Oh, amen to that. I mean,
yeah,
that there's so much truth being said right there. I just want to go back to something about, it sometimes we make bad choices, but it doesn't make us bad people.
nope.
And that's also something that I think when you're struggling with any type of issue, especially, we play these games with ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And we do all this negative self talk.
Yep.
And that's like one thing that I struggled with. Hey, I made some bad decisions in my life, but guess what? I'm not a bad person. I
No.
might have made bad choices, but I've learned from them. And, I've been able to grow. And, I'm 100 years older than you are. But, I would say the same thing to my 13-year-old self,
Hmm.
because when I was 13, it wasn't the phone like this, but I mean, there were other issues in the way
Yeah,
and other perceptions and other popular girls. And, I think that, being able to address it is huge instead of hiding. Talking is freeing.
it is. And it took me a while to learn that because I'm was very shy growing up. Like, literally in high school, like I would be places, but I wouldn't really speak. And it would just be hard for me to tell people how I felt. But now that I'm older and like I've learned how to do that, it literally is so freeing.
It's
And
so freeing. I mean, it's having a voice is like, and look, you stood up to your best friend when you were 18.
Mhm.
Girl, you can do anything now. So, but before we have to, I can't believe how fast the time has gone. I just want to talk a little bit about the business.
Yeah.
So, did you work on a business plan? Have you, thought about, what you're going to do with your brand? What's the next brand extension? What are you thinking about? Or can you share? Or is this all,
Yeah.
like the
So
QT or,
yeah.
what's, go
So
ahead.
I'm hoping just to, because right now most of the stuff is made by me.
Yes.
So I'm hoping to expand it big enough that I can get like factories involved, like obviously like ethically made because that also really matters to me. Get like those things involved and hopefully get more involved with mental health organizations, do some partnerships with other brands that have like similar like beliefs as me. Just kind of getting more out there, I feel like is what I'm hoping to do next and just kind of helping more people and the clothes will follow. So,
Well, the
um,
clothes will follow. You're right. And taking your passion and putting it out there is just so important. And to everyone that's watching, whether you have a child, a friend, a daughter, a cousin, whatever, that's suffering, there's so many resources out there. And I can't wait to introduce you to the Youth Mental Health Project people, because I think that there's just such great synergies between, you know, you and them, and they're all about helping the youth that are suffering. And these are very trying times,
yeah.
and we talk about it being unprecedented. We say this, kind of just like, whatever, it's unprecedented. It really is unprecedented. We've all faced so many challenges, and we've all gotten used to a very different normal.
Hmm.
And people have been suffering this past year and a half, almost a year and a half,
Yeah.
with so many stigmas and issues. And for you to to give birth to a brand in the middle of COVID
Yeah.
is just
Crazy.
tremendous. My
Yeah.
hat's off to you. And I think everyone can find you on Instagram, right?
Yep.
The Inspired by Club is your handle.
Yes.
And your website is theinspiredbyclub.com, where you can order the sweatshirts though on both places, right? You
Yeah.
can order. Instagram takes you right to your website, right? And I just want, what's your final word here? What do you want to leave with everyone?
I just want like everyone who's watching to just no matter like if you know like your child, your friend, your husband, your wife, anyone in your life, just make sure to check on them because I know with me, like I'm silent when I'm in pain. So check on your friends, check on the people around you, make sure they're okay, ask them questions because, like you said, these times are really hard for a lot of people, and some people deal with it in silence, and they will get through things faster if they can use their voice and talk. So just make sure to check on everyone around you, no matter their age, no matter who they are. If you love them, just check on them. And yeah, that's it.
Sarah, you are so impressive, and I can't thank you enough for joining me this evening on Girlfriend to Girlfriend. And like I said, you can visit Sarah at the Inspired by Club, on Instagram or .com. Everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. And Sarah, you take care, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.